feel like I've been around since the original founding. I really wasn't, so I can do this from stories and lore and really sort of the legacy that those gentlemen and others left. Because fortunately that's in many ways what we all inherited, which was a great foundation for building business, for investment, for growth capital, for really innovation, and really seeing some really phenomenal businesses and individuals kind of come out of their efforts, their early efforts. Really 30 years plus, and it was probably longer than that because Chuck and others, a few, and that's how great ideas generally always start, which is a vision of a few who are both determined and committed and passionate, and usually they have a lot of energy too. So my guess is that really is what was at the core of it, that realized there was this movement afoot from the West Coast and we needed to be part of it. And I think anytime you have someone that's a visionary and builds things from whole cloth, they've got to get a lot of credit in that. But I think Chuck and Frank Adams, who were very much at the core of that, both of them co-founders and kind of locked arms, I believe, and really built this with other people in the community. And they would themselves say they did it with a community effort. Baltimore, I think, could not have been a better place, frankly, for building what I consider to be the East Coast presence of venture. It really emanated here in Baltimore. And I say that, and I find myself saying that really even today, everywhere I go. I mean, I'll take trips to Europe and I'll be talking to limited partners, or I'll go to the West Coast or to Boston. And I really do credit the community, and I think the long, deep, entrenched expertise, the financial expertise in this city. It took a lot of commitment to do it, but it also took a vision to say, yes, we can, and we can build it, and it's about going outward, not necessarily just up, but it's also going outward and really bringing a community together. And I think it is that series of roots, that series of genesis, that has probably had if anything, a bigger effect on how what I consider to be the MAVA community. And I don't mean that to be just MAVA and its members. When I say the MAVA community, I mean the long tentacles of that type of vision. And I think that's really what we all are trying to consider and think about and savor and build upon, which is how do you build a platform like a MAVA 30 years ago, and how does it then spawn other things that really help build an ecosystem. MAVA and the market, and again, I think it's important for those who are watching, you know, our market is very ebb and flow. It's very cyclical, and we have a lot of milestones, you know, the dot-com crisis, the venture coming up and coming down. I mean, all of those are milestones, growing pains, market dynamics that I think are inherent in almost any market, but those are ours. When I came on board, they were looking for new leadership. They had an opportunity that created itself from some unfortunate things that happened with its prior leadership. But that being said, I will say what really appealed to me was the kind of leadership that was in place at the time. The issue is people do well when times are great, but the real metal is when you have a blip in the road. How is it that people perform? How are they then? That's really when you see who they are and how they're going to lead. And what was very impressive to me was that there was a very dedicated board who was very committed to chart a new course for MAVA and for the bigger, broader community. And they gave me such confidence in their ability to lead and that their commitment to joining forces in how to build something. And they were engaged. They were rolled up your sleeves kind of guys and gals, and they were committed to making it happen. It didn't matter about title. They were all very much committed to building a bigger and a broader community that I think benefited very many people. And it was that commitment in the early days that I thought was really appealing to me personally. And you sort of knew right at the get-go that this is a place, if you're going to sign on for it, you've got to make sure you've got support around the table, around the board table. And they gave me no reason to think otherwise, and as a matter of fact, that sort of swayed me to do that. Because I'm not sure I would have thought myself as an association person. I consider myself a business person and an entrepreneur first, but I do think that that was really appealing.